Yeah.
We often hear photographers talking about how camera exposure determines the quality of images, but have we ever bothered to understand? A photograph's exposure time determines how light or dark image will appear when it's been captured by the camera. Believe it or not, this is determined by just three camera settings: aperture, ISO, and the shutter speed.
Professionals call it the exposure triangle.
Achieving the correct exposure is a lot like collecting rain in a bucket. While the rate of rainfall is uncontrollable, three factors remain under our control:
The bucket's weight
the duration for which it is left in the rain,
and the quantity of rainwater to be collected.
and what we need to ensure. Just that we don't collect too little.
But that you also don't collect too much.
The key is that there are different combinations of width, time, and the quantity that will achieve this. For example, for the same quantity of water, you can get away with less time in rain if you pick a bucket that's really wide.
Alternatively, for the same duration left in the rain, a really narrow bucket can be used as long as you plan to get less water.
In photography, the exposure settings of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO are analogous to the width, time, and the quantity discussed before.
Furthermore, just as the rate of rainfall was beyond our control, so too is light for a photograph.
A camera's aperture setting controls the area over which the light can pass through your camera lens.
A camera's aperture setting is what determines a photo's depth of field, that is the range of distance over which objects appear in sharp focus.
As the area of opening increases, we get a shallower depth of field.
Simply put, a camera shutter is a curtain in front of the camera sensor that stays closed until the camera fires.
When the camera fires, the shutter opens and fully exposes the camera sensor to the light that passes through the lens aperture.
After the sensor is done collecting the light, the shutter closes immediately, stopping the light from hitting the sensor.
The shutter speed specifically refers to how long this light is permitted to enter your camera. Indeed, if you're photographing a subject that is in motion, you'll get different effects at different shutter speeds.
In very basic terms, ISO is the level of sensitivity of your camera to available light.
The lower the ISO number, the less sensitivity towards the light.
While a higher ISO number increases the sensitivity of your camera.
We should increase the ISO only when there is not sufficient light for the camera to capture quickly.
ISO 400 is twice more sensitive than ISO 200. This makes ISO 400 4 times more sensitive to light than ISO 100.
But what does it actually mean when the sensor is 4 times more sensitive to light? It simply means that it needs quarter time to capture the same image.